Today we're going to take a look at how to create our 3D printer project in Autodesk Inventor. So I have Inventor loaded up on my computer. I'm going to go up to File, orange File in the top left hand corner, and I'm going to go down to New. Once that menu loads up, we're going to select standard.ipt and click Create. And we're going to start with a 2D sketch from our ribbon bar in the top left corner. For us starting out, we're going to begin on our XY plane and click Front in your World View Cube. For our project, we're going to take and use a rectangle tool. So we're going to start with our rectangle tool, begin at your origin, and stretch this out to the upper right hand quadrant. If you take a look at our drawing, the width of our rectangle that we're going to type in is going to be 2, so I'm going to enter that in right up here. Press the Tab key on the keyboard. The height of this rectangle is going to be 0.875. Press Enter on the keyboard when you're done with that. Then we're going to come up to the top, green check mark, Finish Sketch in the ribbon bar. Click Home. And now we're going to extrude to give this depth. I'm going to click on my Extrude button right here in the ribbon bar. When we extrude, our first extrusion is going to be in the flip direction, direction number 2 here. And I'm going to change our extrude distance to 0.125 and click OK. We have a good start here. Now we're going to add a hole. We're going to take a 2D sketch, place this on the top. In order to create a hole, we're going to use our point tool. Click to place that point, and we need to dimension the location of that point. So using our dimension tool from the ribbon bar, I'm going to click on the left hand side of my part. When it turns red, click. And then I'm going to click on the point. When it turns red, click. Bring this down so the dimension is off your part. And this dimension is going to be 0.188. 0.188. When you're finished entering that, enter on the keyboard or click the green check mark right here. Next, we're going to select our dimension tool again. And I want a dimension from the bottom of our part. When that line turns red, click to select it. And I want to come up and select the point. When it turns red, click to select it. Bring this dimension off to the side as well. This dimension is going to get changed to 0.438. 0.438, and then green check mark or enter on the keyboard. Okay, now that we have that hole or that point dimensioned, let's create our hole. Green check mark, Finish Sketch from the ribbon bar. And now we're going to come across our ribbon bar and use our hole tool. For our hole tool, we want to have a simple hole. We want to have no seat. We want the termination to be all the way through. It looks like a stack of pancakes with a fork in the middle of it. And we want to change our diameter to 0.188. Once you have those things checked and selected, click OK on this menu. That creates our hole. Next, we're going to place our design on here in order to trace it. We're going to get a 2D sketch, place that on our front view. And then we're going to come over in the side in our ribbon bar to the Insert area in the ribbon, and we want to choose Image. It should automatically go to your H drive, but it doesn't automatically select your H drive. First initial, last name 000. Click in this pull down menu right here, and you want to go all the way to the bottom and choose the last one at the bottom of the list. Okay? Then once you're in your H drive, you're going to find your image that you want to trace and click Open. I'm going to click to place it. Now my image came in really super large, so I'm going to take and scroll out until I get everything in my preview window. And then in the top left hand corner, when I move my mouse over here, I get a red dot on that corner. I'm going to click, hold down my mouse button, and I'm going to shrink this smaller so that it can fit on my part. Since the two are kind of far away now, I'm going to match them up on top of one another and then zoom in by clicking Front in my World View Cube. Okay, if you need to go up to the top left hand corner, click on that red dot again in order to make this smaller. That's fine. But now we're going to enter into our trace. So I want this as big as possible, so I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. In our menu bar up here at the top, we have our, in our ribbon bar up here at the top, underneath the line icon, there's actually a line button. We're going to click on that and we're going to select, instead of line, we want spline, controlled vertex. It's the second one down in the list here, spline controlled vertex. This is a new tool for us. We're going to come over to the right hand side, or on my part on the right hand side, and I'm going to start here. This part is straight, so I can do that with my spline tool as well. I'm going to click towards the part there, and I'm going to make my first straight line. Click. Now you can see I'm all still connected to that. Now in order to make this curve come up and around, I'm going to have to click multiple times. I'm going to try and stay over the top of the edge of my part. I'm going to click and move my mouse a little bit, click and move my mouse a little bit, click and move my mouse a little bit, and continue doing that until you reach a good ending point for yourself. Once you get to the end of the line segment you want to create, click the green check mark here, which represents OK. And now you can see when I put my cursor on that, you can see that line highlight. That's called the spline that we went through. Okay. Now I need to do the opposite side of that check mark as well. So I'm going to select my spline tool again. Now when I begin this spline, I want to make sure I'm starting on that endpoint. And remember, in order to designate starting on an endpoint, I want to get that green dot to highlight and show that I'm starting right on the endpoint. I'm going to click to start my spline. I have it connected. I'm going to come down from my first straight part. I'm going to click. And then to make my curve, once again, I'm going to click, move my mouse, click, move my mouse, click, move my mouse, click, move my mouse, click, until you end up towards the end of your part. And when I get towards the end, I want to make sure I'm on a green dot there to close that entity. Click, and then I want to choose green check mark. So I have my first spline, I have my second spline, and that looks pretty good. Next, we're going to click on our sketch or our drawing. I'm going to delete that sketch. And now I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to green check mark finish sketch. Now we're going to take and extrude this. I'm going to click my extrude tool. That should automatically select. And then I'm going to change my distance to 0.06. Okay, that's my extrusion distance coming out and away. Now, if this does not automatically highlight, that means you're going to have to go back into your sketch and make sure that you have these endpoints closed. That has to be touching when you designed it with the green dots. And I have two locations on mine that I needed to check if I need to do that. Okay? Mine ended up extruding, so we're going to keep moving forward. Click OK. And now we're going to take and round some of the corners over here on our tag. And we're going to use our fillet tool for that. So I'm going to use my fillet tool. 0.125 came up as a default for me for the fillet. That's going to be good. If yours is not 0.125, you can change this to 0.125. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to click my exterior corners. I'm going to round over that corner, this top right one, the bottom right one. And then for my bottom left one, I can come over here and I can find that edge hidden behind. Okay, if you can't locate that edge, you can always use your World View Cube to rotate around and select that corner as well. Once you have all your corners selected, click OK. Go home. And now we're going to save our part. So we're going to go up to the orange file in the top left-hand corner. We're going to go to Save As. Make sure we're going to our H drive, first initial last name 000. If this does not automatically come up for you, click on the pull-down arrow. You want to choose the last one in the bottom of the list. Then we're going to name our part. We're going to call this "3D printer" and then your last name. Okay, that way we're able to find our part when we're looking for it for our 3D printer and we're ready to print it. And click Save. Once that saves, we're going to change this into a file format called an STL format so that the 3D printer can slice and actually print it. In order to do that, we're going to go up to the orange file in the top left-hand corner again, orange file, and we're going to come down to Export. We're going to export. In this fly menu that comes out, we're going to click on CAD format. Still in our H drive, leave the file name, 3D printer, and your last name alone. However, the type we're going to save it as is we're going to click on this bottom menu here, Save Type As, and we're going to go down to STL. It should be the second one from the bottom of the list. Once you have that changed to STL file, then we're going to click on our Save button. Okay, once you're finished with that, congratulations, you're done. Now you're able to go over to the 3D printer, load your file onto the flash drive, and print your part out. Nice job. Next step is over at the 3D printer.